Hi Stitchy friends, I'm Michelle and this is my channel Penny's Daughter Shares, where I talk primarily about cross stitch, but there will be other sewing and crafting from time to time. Today is all about cross stitch. If you're new here, welcome. Thanks for stopping by. If you like what you see, please hit the like button and subscribe. If you are returning, thank you for coming back. I appreciate all the time you share with me. And I'm going to start today with, you can see my background is quite a bit different. I am in my craft room, and this is the same wall that has been behind me, but has been plain. Excuse me. And long story short, Jeff got a new office and took the desk that I had in here, which I had filmed on, but you guys hadn't seen, and it had 3 pieces, so there was an L and another piece. It was a little bit big for everything else I have going on in here anyway, and that's why we decided it was perfect for his new office. So we're working on updating in here. So one of the things we've done is we moved this dresser in here, which I don't know why I didn't think of this sooner. And I'm gonna tip the camera and I hope it's not too wonky, but this is just a ordinary IKEA dresser. It was this dark brown finish, and I don't remember what that's called. I'm sure they still have it. But I bought a stencil, and so this is one stencil, and it's like a metallic silver paint, and stenciled this design on, and it wraps around a little bit. It's kind of random. And then I changed out the excuse me, I changed out the knobs to be fancy knobs. Well, I had done this for we had it like under our TV in our older house, and I'm like thinking, you know, that would be perfect in my craft room because I had done something to it. Now this is about the extent of my furniture refinishing abilities, choices that I would want to do. That's just not something I am interested in doing. So anyway, I thought I'd show it to you. I think it's gonna stay here, and I think we're gonna add some shelving or something up here. Haven't decided, and I can't remember if I've shared with you before. Jeff and I are both CPAs, and I am full-time at home with the kids. He is right now in the middle of busy season, or at the beginning of it. It hits every year, and it's really tough around here. So this is about, other than me moving some of this stuff around, that's what I'm gonna have until after April 15th. So here is the most exciting thing I'm gonna share today. We're gonna start with the best first. I finished Winter Rose Manor from Brenda Gervais. And I'm sure you're all familiar with the pattern, so without further ado, let me show the ta-da. And here it is, my finish. It's so beautiful, and I look at it and I go, I can't believe that I stitched this whole thing. But yeah, this is my finish, and it is stitched on 40 count Brenda's Brew from R&R. I stitched 1 thread over 2 linen threads. I used all the called for colors except for one substitution. Gentle Arts Roasted Marshmallow. I substituted in Classic Colorworks Toasted Marshmallow. And that change is thanks to Liz. Thank you, Liz. At Elizabeth Ann Can Stitch. I am beyond thrilled with how that white looks on this fabric and in combination with everything. It just is beautiful. Because my initials are so large, I think there's one snowflake that I didn't stitch at all. And I know at least one of these up here, I replaced a larger snowflake with one of the tiny ones, just to make my initials fit in there good. The other thing I did, which I've talked about before, and I'm gonna move this in closer and hopefully you can see it, I cross-stitched the cardinals as called for in the chart, called for colors and everything, and then the wings just didn't stand out enough for me. So I added a satin stitch over the top of my cross stitches. And that's just with one strand of thread also that I did the satin stitch. Those birds I think just turned out fantastic. And so now I really, really want to stitch the pincushion chart that she has included in the booklet. And I will use my same substitution with the toasted marshmallow, and I will plan to use satin stitches on the cardinals again. Or I'm sorry, on the cardinal. There's only one in that pincushion. And so what I did was I held out all the colors that I need to complete that, because you don't need all the colors that was used in this sampler. And so it's sort of kitted up. I need to pick out a piece of fabric. Although if I had laid this out better when I started it, I probably have enough fabric here extra that I could have squeezed the pincushion out of this. But I started this last May during Mania, and I didn't push limits with borders of fabric and such at the time. So it is what it is. I purchased it as a kit from Country Sampler, and this was the size fabric that was included, and so I used it all, so to speak. But yeah, so that is my Winter Rose Manor finish. And I plan to frame it, and I plan to do that myself. I have a piece that I believe is gonna work really well. And we'll talk about FFOs a little later and my plans for those. But yeah, that is it. Winter Rose Manor. And I also want to say thank you to everyone who, all your compliments and questions about things as I've worked on this, because I've shared it along the way on Instagram too. And those of you that follow me on Instagram, I have had several of you ask me, did you finish Winter Rose Manor? And I wanted to share it on Flosstube first. So it's been hanging out on my ironing board this week because I finished it last Friday. So I'm just tickled. Can you tell? This is probably the biggest piece I've ever stitched, and so I'm really proud of it, and it's very beautiful, and I feel less intimidated by other large projects and samplers. So my second finish, I will insert a picture here of the chart. It is Brenda Gervais March Wordplay. Here is my finish. I stitched this on which I'm stitching the entire set of 12 on 40 count Ancient from Picture This Plus. I'm stitching 1 floss thread over 2 fabric threads. I'm using mostly called for colors. The main thing that I'm changing is anything that's white or particularly light. And in most cases, I'm using Anchor White to replace whatever kind of shade of white was called for. Now on this one, there were actually 2 shades called for. So Anchor White I used for the sheep and the little doodads here, and then the little bits on the clovers. But on each of the houses, I used, give me just a second here to remember, Shaker White from Gentle Arts. And I don't know if it's showing in here on the video, but in person, you can see a slight difference. And definitely, I think you can see in this house here, excuse me, that there's variation in the color of the thread itself. So that's March wordplay. So that means I have 3 of the 4 stitched. So that's fun. That's really fun. I'm excited. And so my goal is 2 per month, and to be able to have them done, 2 per month stitched. I did have someone ask me if I planned on fully finishing any of them or getting them all stitched and then doing full finishes on all 12 all at one time. And to be honest, I haven't decided yet, although I'm not the best at full finishes, like in terms of getting them done. So I already have a stack, and it's very possible that these will wait. And I'll just do them all at one time because I have a piece that I'm gonna change them out on. And so all 12 are gonna get finished in the same way, just with some different fabrics and trims or whatever, you know, depending on the colors in the month, obviously. So yeah, so those are my finishes. Ta-da! So I have just 1 WIP that I've actually been working on in addition to those in the past 2 weeks. So this one is the April wordplay. So this will be my second one of February to get done. And when I get this done, I'll have 4 done. This is April. I'm looking at it going, okay, so I'm using, again, 40 count Ancient from Picture This Plus is my fabric, stitching 1 over 2. I'm using all called for colors, again, except for the white. And I want to say, gosh, I was just working on this too. I think this one has a couple shades of white also. And so I know like my back stitching here is, I used Anchor White, and the sleeve of Bunny's shirt, and I think it's Bunny's whiskers, called for a different shade of white. And so I went back to Gentle Arts Shaker White again, just to give it a little something. And again, I doubt you can tell on the video, right? It's not like they're that much different, but I don't know. I think, at least to me, when I'm looking at it myself, I can tell a slight difference, right? And some shading in the sleeve. So I think it looks good. I'm happy with it. It would be fine if I used the same white for everything too. It's not like there's that many stitches, right? So I have a lot of kind of the big stitching done. I need to add, there's some grass that goes here and here. And then it's, yeah, finishing the words in one little line of like some doodads, you know, a little design. I'm honestly hoping for a finish on this by the end of today while I'm watching Olympics later. Is anyone else watching Olympics? Oh my gosh, like I could watch it all day, every day, and I cheer everybody on, and I don't care what country you're from. I'm sad or I'm hurting for you if you fall or you make a mistake. Everyone works so hard, right? So, okay. Anyway, I love the Olympics. And so, yeah, like I said, hoping to finish this by the end of today. Oh, and you can see I've already added my initials and the date in there, snuck that in that little spot. Normally I don't put that on until I am finished stitching, but I found that I've been getting frustrated with trying to get that done at the very end. It's like I want to be done, and here I'm like fighting with where to put my initials, and I do it in the wrong spot. I'm off a stitch, and then it doesn't fit, and I have to tear it out, and oh, it's so silly. So I figured out, okay, I'm gonna start adding that in when I'm in that section, and it's going so much smoother. I've done that 2 or 3 times now, and I don't know why I haven't done it sooner. So that's my suggestion. If you're frustrated with your initials, put them in a little sooner on the project instead of waiting until you're totally finished. And I stitched, it's just back stitched, but I stitched that 1/1 with back stitching. So that's how it's nice and tiny. So that is my WIP for the week. All right, so let's talk about some Stitchy Kindness, which is amazing. Sarah contacted me. She sent me a message on Instagram. She is Sew Me Sarah, S-E-W, sew. And I will link her down below. She has a Flosstube. If you haven't watched it, please check her out. She is in Northern Ireland. She contacted me not too long ago and said that she had a chart that someone had given her, and she thought of me when she saw it. Would I like it? So here it is. She sent it to me. How wonderful is she? Do you see? It is called A Penny Saved from La-Di-Da. And I had never seen this before. So a penny saved is a penny earned. I'd never seen this before, didn't know it existed. And when she showed it to me and asked if I would like her to send it to me, yes, please. So she sent me this with a really lovely note and apologized that she didn't have any of the called for floss. Sarah, you don't need to apologize. Just that you sent me the chart and you thought of me was more than enough. And so, but she did send me another floss that she liked, that she thought I would like. So isn't that wonderful? I can't wait to put it together. It calls for NPI silks, and I'm not stitched with silks, and I'm not sure, I haven't decided. I might stitch this in silks as like a splurge, right? It only calls for 4 colors. Or I might decide to do my own floss conversion and use something like Old Penny from Forbidden Fiber Co., which I love, just so that I add that extra layer of penny to this design. So isn't that wonderful? Well, a few days later, I got another something in the mail from her. This time it was a card, and when I received it, I was thinking, what could this possibly be? So she sent me this cute card, And look what she sent me. A penny. In her note, she says that she forgot to send it in her original package. But I just think that is so cool. And I apologize in advance for getting this wrong for anyone who's yelling at me while you're watching this. It's a penny. I want to say it's a British penny. Is that how I say it? Anyway, she thought I would like to have another one for my collection that is not from the US. So yes, I would. I think it's wonderful. I'm just so excited about it. So thank you so much, Sarah, for thinking of me and for taking the time to send me these things. I absolutely appreciate it. So that wraps up my Stitchy Kindness, and it also wraps up my collection because, just as a reminder, I'm on a spending freeze. And what's this? I've spent no money. Yay! Anyway, yeah, no collection because no subscriptions have come, in the last couple weeks, and no pre-orders, although there's still some stuff there. So that's where we're at. So no collection, but I'm celebrating that. Okay, so the other thing, this is kind of a side little bit here, is I've had quite a few people ask me about using QSnaps because you see them in my pictures on Instagram, or you see that I'm holding them up when I show my WIPs, and I've talked about them before in some of my tips and tricks. And I have been thinking in the back of my mind, I should put together, I'll call it a tutorial, but I don't know if you can really call it a tutorial for QSnaps, but I do want to put together a video just about QSnaps and how I use them in my personal sort of tips and tricks. Okay, so I don't know exactly when I can get that done and put together. I have a couple of non-stitchy related life things kind of happening. I can't share quite yet. I hope to be able to soon. But my point being, they affect my ability to make videos and get them edited and uploaded and all of that. So just know that is on my to-do list, and I will get it up, and obviously I will tell you about it when I put it together. So, but I had someone send me a specific private message on Instagram to ask me a couple of questions about using my QSnap, or how I do a couple of things. And I'm not gonna go into all of them, but there was a couple. I was gonna show you something that I feel like I'm a genius because I came up with something. And if someone else is doing it, I apologize. I didn't try to take the idea from you, but I thought of it one day. So I wanted to share that too, and they kind of go together. So the question was how do I hold my QSnap? And I think she meant while I was stitching. And so I'm going to do my best here to kind of show you a couple little bits here, but I apologize that it's not going to be necessarily easy to see. As always, please ask me questions if you have them, and I will try to answer them best I can. So you might think about using your QSnap and holding it with a grip. So I'm a right-handed stitcher, okay? So my left hand and gripping it like this. And not that I never hold my QSnap this way. I do sometimes, especially if I'm over like on the edge here, you know, or close to the edge. But I try to use that as little as possible. And this is why my hand starts to hurt, especially like the joint in my thumb, or like my hand doesn't really cramp up, but it gets really sore. And so, and I think it's probably because I grip it too tightly. Just, I don't know, you're concentrating, right? And so you're gripping it. So I try not to do that. This is how I hold my QSnap if I can, or as much as I possibly can. And so it involves kind of balance. I'll back up here so you can see me. Okay, so I hold my hand flat on the back here. And if I'm sitting down and stitching, it's resting about right here, you know, kind of right at the bottom of my rib cage here. And then I can stitch, and I go here on the right side, I go back and forth with my needle and thread because I do the poke and stab method. I'm not doing sewing method. So I don't know if that helps anybody, but so most of the time, this works totally great. And by the way, this is my favorite size of QSnap to have right now, which I put together. It's 2 legs of an 8-inch and 2 legs of an 11-inch. So it's 8 by 11. It just balances, and the weight of it and everything is just nice. So as long as things fit in there, that's great. So yeah, so that's how I hold this. So see, and so it's sort of just balanced, but I can move my hand around. You know, I can have my finger where I want my needle to go, right, as my guide. So I think that works out really well. Now, the thing that I felt like a genius for the other day. So like I said, sometimes it's hard because you're balancing, especially if you are using a larger QSnap. So for example, Winter Rose Manor, I had that in a 14-inch square because I don't like to put the clips over spots where I've already stitched. I am paranoid that it's gonna smash or distort my stitches. So, and I know there's a lot of you out there that do put the clamps on over your stitching areas, and I'm gonna work on learning what those tricks are because there's no way that everyone's doing that and distorting their stitches. So, but for me right now, this is what I do. So like I said, I was using a 14-inch square for Winter Rose Manor so that I could see all of my stitching. Well, because that's so big, if I was trying to stitch, let's say up in this upper corner, it wouldn't really balance, even if it was leaning against me when I was sitting down. So this is what I did. These magnetic straps that I think most people are using, like if you have a large amount of fabric and you kind of roll it up and hook, you just take one of these, right? And you connect it to hold your fabric together. Well, I took 2 of them so that it was longer, connected them together. And then this is what I did. I connected it onto my QSnap. And again, imagine if this was much larger. It's a little easier to see how it would. So see how I've kind of created a handle. That's what I call it. I don't know. But now I can put my hand in here and I can hold it a lot more. It doesn't, like I said, it works better for when you're in a large project because now, which you can kind of see here. All right, so now that is resting against my arm. I can hold my hand out flat still and keep a hold of my project without it flipping off to the side, you know, tipping over or whatever. Does that make sense? Oh, I hope it does. Hopefully when I do my tutorial video, I can get a little better picture for you. But so, I mean, like here, you can have it on your wrist, but with the magnets, you can set them at wherever you need to have this at and be able to have your hand holding it. So see how I am not, it's in my hand. I don't even need to have it resting against me. I could hold it out here and stitch if I wanted. So see if that helps you, if you want to try it. Like I said, for the larger QSnaps, it was wonderful. But that flat hand hold may help a lot of people, because I feel like I've heard from a lot of people that sometimes your hand or your wrist hurts. And, you know, this is just letting the weight balance on something. So I hope that helps you. Like I said, please ask questions because that was just a quick little spiel. And I will work on getting a QSnap tutorial together. On Flosstube 15, my last Flosstube, I announced the winners from Flosstube 14 and my 2022 subscribers celebration, and I shipped all those things out except for 2 who I haven't heard from. So I just want to remind you, number 6 is for Stuck in the Middle of Cross Stitch. You won the Scarlet Letter, A Token of Friendship. And number 7 is Rachel Barker. And I apologize, Rachel. I think that I said your name was Rachel Parker when I announced these, and I realized that after the video was done. So Rachel Barker, you have number 7, the Blue Flower Winter Quail. Now what I'm going to do is I am going to give Stuck in the Middle of Cross Stitch and Rachel Barker until my next Flosstube, which I plan to be next Friday, to get to me and respond with what they won. So if you heard your name, please send me an email at the email address listed below in my description box and tell me your name. I need your address, and also if you can remember, tell me the number or the chart name that you won, just so I make sure I get everyone straight. And so, but if I don't hear from these 2 by my next Flosstube, I'm going to go back to Flosstube 14 and draw new names for each of these charts. So if anybody out there knows these 2 and wants to remind them or tell them what's going on, that would be fantastic. So that's a little housekeeping, and to wrap up, I'll talk about my plans. So I already talked to you about April word play, so hoping to finish that today. And we'll see how that goes. It probably depends on how long it takes me to edit this video and get it uploaded. To see how much time I have left. Excuse me. The other thing I want to work on, and I was trying to find my board here so I could show you where I'm at, because I haven't showed it in a while. All right, so Raise a Glass of Cheer from Blackbird Designs. And here's my goal. I'd like to finish this by the end of next week. So not quite halfway. No, not quite halfway, but if I get April word play done And with Olympics watching, I should be able to get quite a bit done. So let's see if I can get this finished by next week. So that is on my to-do list. And now the other thing about plans is I have lots of FFOs I want to work on. I have sewing that I want to do, quilting. I mean, I would love to get started on the heartfelt quilt along. I have my, is it Stitch It Pink? I think, I can't remember. Anyway, my breast cancer cured celebration quilt that I was gonna do last October, and then I was going to have done by the end of 2021, at least the top of it, and I still have one block done. So, but I have it all cut. Excuse me. Anyway, I have other things I want to do, but I just have been so into just stitching and stitching, which is my favorite part. So I think that wraps everything up for today. I hope you enjoyed it. As always, thank you for sharing your time with me, and I will see you soon.